Prince Florian blinked and found that his armor had vanished. He opened his eyes to a place that felt altered, and sitting up, took in the hut with bewildered attention. The interior was almost empty. He lay upon a straw mat. In one corner of the hut stood a small earthen pitcher filled with water, and beside it, a little clay bowl. He looked around with those wide, startled eyes of a man who wakes in a strange land. A sudden memory flash made him start. One memory after another came back. The ambush, the blades, the arrows. As he thought, his face tightened with rising fury. How did I end up here? They had cut me down with swords and arrows, so how could my wounds have vanished? God, what is happening? Am I dead? But if I were dead, I ought to be lying in a grave. Then what is all this? Who brought me here? He groped and stammered in confusion. At that very moment, the hut's door opened, and an old man with a kindly, luminous face stepped inside. A small raven perched on the elder's shoulder. The old man smiled at the prince and advanced. Florian tried to rise quickly, but a dizzy weakness seized him, and he staggered back onto the mat. Now, what are you doing, young one? Lie still. Your strength is not yet returned, the elder warned gently. But where am I? Who are you? And how are my wounds gone? Florian asked, relief and curiosity tumbling together. The elder studied his face closely, nodded as if he understood, then spoke something soft to the raven. The bird cocked its head, hopped down from his shoulder, and fetched a handful of small forest fruits from the hut's corner. It set them carefully near the prince. Eat these first, son. They will ease your weakness, the old man said. Florian ate, then told his tale. The crafty chancellor had sent his brutal men to lay waste across the land. He had declared that anyone who spoke against him, or even spoke the name of the late king, would be put to death. The terror-struck folk sealed their lips. The chancellor even garrisoned the borders with soldiers, ordered to kill on sight any who tried to return. Unaware of this, Florian and his companions rode home. Along the way, one loyal man, who had somehow escaped, met him and told the prince everything while weeping. Outraged, Florian swore vengeance, so terrible that generations would remember it. Though his friends begged him not to, blood fired his head, and he refused to be stayed. He rode alone toward his kingdom. His men had no choice but to follow him. Near the border, the chancellor's soldiers, vastly more numerous, fell upon them. Many of his companions were slain. Florian fought on, but was grievously wounded. An arrow found his chest. His scream rent the air, and he fell writhing. 2 swords pierced him, and his heart beat like a drum before he blacked out. Now, having told the litany, he fell silent. The elder and the raven listened with sorrow in their faces. Tell me, sir, who are you? Who brought me here? And how have my wounds healed? Florian asked, looking at the elder. I am Elder Rowan, only a humble servant of Providence, the man answered with a smile. I live here, on the edge of the Wilderwood. Last evening, I happened to walk toward the forest boundary and found you, unconscious, ravaged by wounds. I brought you in. Your enemies must have thought you dead and left you among the corpses. When I carried you here, I anointed your wounds with a poultice of the forest's special herbs. They sealed, and you recovered. You have saved my life. I can never repay you. Had you not taken me in, the beasts would have gnawed my bones by now. Florian said with heartfelt gratitude. There is no need for thanks, son. It was my duty. Perhaps it was Providence that kept you alive, the elder replied, smiling. The raven, Rook, watched Florian closely, its bright eye full of intelligence. May I ask you something? Florian said after a pause. Ask, the elder nodded. How do you dwell among such wild beasts without harm? Why do they not attack you? And why does this raven treat you like a friend who understands your words? Florian asked. The old man chuckled. It is true. Rook understands me, and I understand it. And as for the wild creatures, though they may be my enemies, they cannot harm me for a particular reason. I will not reveal just yet. Tell me, then, what will you do now? You cannot return home as long as the Chancellor rules. If he sees you alive, he will surely have you killed. Florian clenched his jaw. Indeed, he is cruel. To seize the throne, he surely shed the blood of countless innocents. I ache to visit my homeland, to see if any good or just soul governs there. If the country is ruled with justice, I will forgive blood past and return to my life. If it is tyranny, I will make him pay a reckoning his descendants will remember. He spoke with burning resolve. I am glad to hear that resolve, child, the elder said, but let me offer a word of counsel. Please speak, Florian urged. God has granted me certain visions, the elder continued. I see a bright star upon your brow, the sign of a destiny not among men alone, but among the beasts of the forest. Your true place is not where you came from, but where you now stand. Florian frowned, bewildered. I do not understand. You will understand with time, the elder said, smiling. Suffice it to tell you now, your fate is bound to the creatures of the Wilderwood. The animals of this forest will obey you, but you must live among them. Florian stared, jaw slack. What do you mean? How can all the beasts obey me? I do not know their tongue. How will they heed me? Do not trouble yourself. You will learn their speech as if by nature. Only lay aside thoughts of revenge and follow my counsel, the elder said, and his voice took on a quietly magical tone. At that moment, the elder told a long account. Years ago, he had been traveling through the forest with his daughter Parabella, when man-eating ogres, the fierce, roaming tribes of the wild, surrounded them. They wounded him and carried off his daughter. He had not been able to stop them. Later, his mentors, Sir Rowan and Master Cedric, had found him injured and healed his wounds in an instant. They told him that the ogres would not kill Parabella because their chieftain, Lord Centaur, had taken a mind to her and wished to wed her. But Centaur's custom forbade taking a bride unless she consented. If a woman refused, the law gave a year. If she did not choose another husband, or if no one freed her from the Ogre King's capture within that year, she would belong to him. The elder continued. His mentors told him that a wounded stranger would come into the forest, who would free Parabella, and who would be famed thereafter as the Wilderwood Prince, beloved by all the creatures of the wood. But such a man would have to live in the forest and endure hardship. The elder had waited and watched. Now, looking at Florian, he saw the signs of that prophecy fulfilled. Can I really be that Wilderwood Prince? Florian asked, astonished. You fit the signs my masters described. Please, do not refuse, the elder pleaded. I cannot bear more days without my daughter. If you free her, I will be forever in your debt. Florian looked down, thinking. Rook watched him, expectant. After a long moment, he raised his head. Elder Rowan, whether or not I become the prince of this wood, I promise you this. I will free Parabella from those ogres. You saved my life. You are my benefactor. Tell me where they dwell and where they hold her captive. The elder's face lit with joy. Rook's eyes shone. You have lifted a great weight from my shoulders, son. Stay here. I will return at once. He beckoned to Rook, who leapt back to his shoulder, and the elder stepped out of the hut. Florian watched him go with a mix of amazement and resolve. When the elder returned, he carried a large, fragrant leaf whose scent filled the hut. The smell was sharp and strange. Florian pinched his nose against it. The elder took water from the clay pitcher, crushed the leaf between his palms, and worked it into the bowl until the water turned a deep red, like blood in miniature. The aroma grew stronger. Florian pressed his hand to his nose. The elder lifted the bowl, closed his eyes, and began to intone softly. A figure stepped into the hut, carrying an odd fruit filled with a green, pulpy juice. He set the fruit beside Elder Rowan and stood back. A few breaths later, Rowan opened his eyes, blew once over the crimson liquid in the bowl, and pushed it toward the prince. "Here, drink it in one breath," he said. "In one go?" Florian grimaced at the smell. It made him want to gag. Elder Rowan urged him on. Yes, drink. It smells foul, I know, but it is a potent draught. You will taste its power once it is down. Come now, brave one, drink it." Reluctantly, Florian took the bowl Rowan pressed into his hands. "Close your eyes. Down it in a single breath. Don't leave a drop. This is bitter." He obeyed, clamping his mouth around the rim. The bitterness scorched his tongue and made his eyes water. He squeezed his face and hissed. Rowan called out, "Quick, eat this fruit. The bitterness will pass." Florian opened his eyes and took the strange fruit Rowan offered. He bit into it. Honeyed sweetness flooded his mouth, and he began to eat eagerly. Though the aftertaste remained sharp, a current of energy raced through his body, something electric and fierce. His limbs tingled as if being filled with molten iron. He felt his muscles harden and his skin grow oddly taut. For a long moment he trembled. Rowan and Rook watched him closely. Slowly, after half an hour, the trembling subsided and Florian felt steadier. Rowan smiled. "How do you feel?" "Amazing," Florian gasped. "I can hardly believe it. What was in that herb? It's as if my bones turned to steel and lightning runs beneath my skin. How can this be?" "Mercy and craft of the world," Rowan replied. "Nature hides strange medicines. My master told me of this herb. I thought you would need it, so I brought it. It has given you great strength. Use it only against injustice and only when truly required. Help the helpless whenever you can. And one more thing. This herb will let you speak to and understand the creatures of the Wilderwood." Both Rowan and Rook gave a small, startled cry. "So, he can speak our tongue?" Rook asked, blinking at the elder. Florian's breath caught. The raven's words were clear to him. Suddenly, the bird's cawing had the cadence of speech. He could not trust his own ears. Far in the forest, under the shade of a huge ancient oak, the king of the wood, Maelor the great lion, rested with his head across his forepaws. Nearby lay the carcass of a fawn, recently taken and already torn. Maelor was larger than most lions. His paws could fell a stag with a single swipe. All the beasts feared him. He roamed the wood at will and took whatever prey pleased him. When he was full, he slept. No creature dared cross him. This afternoon, however, a quick-footed vixen came racing to him, and he rose with a snarl at the disturbance. Vixie, Mira the vixen, was a talker and a mischief maker. She loved to stir trouble. When she came near and began to chatter, Maelor's expression darkened. "My liege," Mira panted, "forgive the interruption, but I could not keep silent." "What is it, Mira? Do you not see I rest?" Maelor growled. "Speak swiftly." "There are 2 ravens, Rook and his friend Pip, nearby. I heard them." Rook said, "Do not worry, Pip. Soon we will be rid of Maelor, the Wilderwood's prince will arise, and the lion will no longer be king." Maelor's face changed. "The Wilderwood prince? Who dares? Who is this creature?" Mira told every detail she had overheard. The wounded stranger healed by Elder Rowan, the herbs, the raven's claim that this stranger had been given uncanny strength. Maelor's temper flared. "A mere man to call himself prince and challenge my rule? I will not allow it. I will drink his blood and make a feast of him." He rose and paced. "Where is he? Bring him before me." No," Mira stammered. "Rook said the stranger rests at the elder's hut." He will go out at dawn to claim the forest. He will try first with words. If the beasts will not listen, he will use his strength." Malor snorted. "What strength? I will snap him with one paw. He is no more than a mouse." He roared with contempt. Mira fled as the lion raged and pulled at his mane. The next morning, Florian awoke in the hut. Elder Rowan had gone into the nearby human village for a while. He would return soon, he'd said, and left Rook to tend to the prince. Rook set some fruit near Florian and smiled. Florian felt a fierce delight that Rook spoke and that he himself understood. Yet confusion stayed with him. Why did he go to the village? Why didn't he tell me? Florian wondered. Rook shrugged. He had no answer and suggested they breakfast. Florian shook his head. "I would like to bathe first. Is there a lake nearby?" "There is," Rook answered brightly. They left the hut and walked through the dense wood together. Rook kept a careful distance, not wanting to seem presumptuous. The forest was thick. Ferns and wild herbs crowded the path. Poisonous snakes flicked among the branches, and distant roars and cries punctuated the air. For the first time since he had been tended in the hut, Florian felt suddenly small. Sweat broke on his brow despite his courage. The red cloak Elder Rowan had given him lay about his shoulders. His boots were on his feet, and he tried to step cautiously. "You are new to the wood," Rook observed quietly. "Are you afraid?" Florian began to laugh nervously. "Afraid? Why would I be?" His voice failed him. He felt his limbs betray him. The bravery he had felt yesterday had fled. Rook's eyes showed concern. He had never seen the prince so pale. "Sir, what is it? Why do you tremble? You seemed well yesterday after the draught," Rook said. "I do not know," Florian admitted, voice shaking. "My heart pounds as if I were a coward. Take me back, please. I am frightened." Tears sprang to his eyes. Before Rook could answer, a terrible roar shattered the air. Both Raven and Prince leapt. Rook's feathers ruffled. Fear sharpened his gaze. The sound came again, Malor's roar. Rook whispered, "Malor the lion, this way. We must flee." He hurried toward shelter. Florian tried to run, but felt his feet frozen to earth. "My feet, they feel frozen as if fear has rooted me," he gasped. He began to sob. From the bushes, a huge, towering lion stepped into view, Malor's cruel eyes fixed on Florian. Rook scrambled up the nearest tree and hid among the leaves, looking down in despair. He believed nothing in the world could save the prince now. Malor stared at the trembling figure before him. "So this is the Wilderwood prince," he rumbled. "He trembles like a willow in wind." "No, I am Prince Florian," the young man begged, collapsing to his knees. "Forgive me. Please spare me. I was brought here. I did not come of my own will." Rook watched, horrified. Only yesterday, the draft had filled the prince with strength. Now, he was as helpless as a child. Rook wondered how such a change could be. Malor snarled with disbelief. "You can speak my tongue. Where did you learn it?" he demanded. I do not know," Florian whispered. "Please, go away. I will not fight you." Malor licked his lips slowly. "A healthy meal presents itself," he said, advancing. He took a deliberate step toward the prince. The young prince staggered backward, a scream tearing through his throat as the monstrous lion lunged at him. The beast's golden mane flashed in the sunlight as it struck the earth with a roar that shook the trees. Rook watched in horror from the treetops, his heart pounding with helpless fear. By sheer fortune, the prince stumbled and fell to the ground just as the lion pounced. The creature soared past him, crashing into the dirt. With a furious snarl, the lion spun around, its amber eyes burning with rage. "How dare you evade my strike, mortal?" it thundered, and again it leapt forward. This time its claws found their mark, crushing the prince beneath its colossal weight. Florian felt his chest caving under the monstrous strength. Death loomed before him. But before the beast could strike again, something unseen hurled it backward with tremendous force. It roared in pain, tumbling across the ground. Rook's eyes widened. "By the heavens," he whispered, "someone has intervened." Then came a voice, deep, commanding, echoing through the forest air. "Rise, Prince Florian. Stand and fight the darkness within you. Have you forgotten who you are?" "Master Rowan?" the prince gasped, looking around wildly. "Where are you? Help me. The beast, it's going to kill me." The lion, Malor, growled in confusion, circling the prince warily. The voice came again. Rowan, the old sage who had once saved Florian's life. "You disappoint me, my son. You carry the elixir of the ancient grove within you, yet you cower like a frightened child. You need the final spark, the strike of awakening." And then, crack, an invisible hand struck across the prince's face, sending him tumbling backward. Even the lion froze. Rook stared, aghast. When Florian rose again, a mark of the unseen hand burned upon his cheek, but his eyes blazed like molten gold. Fear was gone. His spine straightened, his fists clenched, and his breath came steady, like the wind before a storm. The lion bellowed and leapt again, but this time, Florian did not flinch. He caught the beast's paw midair, his body radiating a strange energy. Thunder crackled. With a roar of his own, the prince hurled the lion aside, the ground trembling from the impact. Far away, beyond the forest of the Wilderwood, lay the cursed valley of Farnak. Here dwelt a savage tribe, the Devourers of Man. They were tall, dark-skinned warriors, their bodies smeared with painted sigils of blood and clay. They worshipped Nithra, the stone deity of fire and wrath. Once a week, they offered a living soul at the idol's feet, believing that failure to sacrifice would bring the gods' fiery vengeance upon their land. Their high priest, Zorgam, appeared a child of 10, but in truth, he had lived for 3 centuries. Through dark sorcery, he had bound the tribe's souls to his will. Even their war chief, Lord Santar, who dared not defy him. Now, inside a hut of bones and reed, Zorgam sat deep in thought. His amber eyes glimmered like embers as he muttered ancient incantations. A messenger entered and bowed. "Sacred Oracle, Chief Santar has come to pay his respects." "Send him in," Zorgam said, without lifting his gaze, "and make sure no one disturbs us." Moments later, the war chief entered, broad-shouldered and draped in furs. He knelt, kissed the priest's hand, and said with a forced humility, "Your servant is here, O Sacred One. You summoned me? You know very well why you're here." Zorgam's voice hissed like a serpent. "Do not feign ignorance. I do not understand, Oracle. What is it you accuse me of?" Zorgam leaned forward, his childlike face twisting into something inhuman. "Our god demands a sacrifice, and you dare defy him because of your obsession with the girl, Parabella." Santar's jaw tightened. "She belongs to me. In 1 moon's time, she will be mine by the ancient vow. You cannot ask me to give her to Nithra." "I can, and I will," the priest thundered. "Offer her, or doom the tribe." "There must be another way," the war chief pleaded. "My men search the forests. They will find a human soon." "Fool!" Zorgam struck his staff upon the floor, sparks of red flame bursting forth. "No human dares enter this cursed land anymore. The gods have chosen Parabola. Defy them, and all of you shall burn." But Centaur stood his ground. "You are deceived, old one. Parabella is guarded. I have placed her under the protection of Makor, the guardian worm. Even you cannot reach her." The oracle's eyes narrowed to slits. "So it is true. You've hidden her from me. Come and see for yourself," the chief challenged. Zorgum rose, his tiny form emanating immense power. "Very well," he said coldly. "Show me." They strode through the jungle until they reached a vast pit veiled with branches. Centaur knelt, chanting low. Crimson energy spiraled from his palms, sweeping away the covering. Below, in the dark hollow, lay a young woman, Parabella, her beauty unearthly, her golden hair shimmering even in shadow. Her eyes were closed, lost in some enchanted sleep. Deep within the obsidian forest, the oracle Zorgum peered into the pit. There, beneath a veil of living insects, lay the girl, Parabella. Only her face remained untouched. From neck to toe, her body was shrouded in a writhing blanket of red and black beetles, moving as if obeying a single unseen will. The sight was both mesmerizing and horrific. "You have doomed us all, Centaur," Zorgum hissed, his childlike face twisting with fury. "The wrath that will fall upon this tribe shall be of your making, and yours alone." With that, the sorcerer turned sharply and stormed toward the village, his staff striking sparks upon the dirt. Behind him, the war chief's grim expression curved into a slow, satisfied smile. Far away, in the valley's other corner, Prince Florian faced the monstrous lion Malor in a clash that shook the heavens. The beast lunged with a roar, its fangs glinting like blades. But this time, Florian was faster. As Malor sprang, the prince spun on his heel and struck the lion's jaw with all the might of his enchanted blood. The blow was like thunder. The lion's body flipped midair, crashing through the underbrush. Before the beast could recover, Florian leapt high and seized its neck in both arms, his strength pulsing like lightning. Malor thrashed wildly, claws raking the earth. But Florian held on, every muscle aflame with power. The lion twisted with a roar and tore free, but not before Florian's grip left deep marks upon its golden fur. The prince ducked beneath a savage strike and rolled away, rising to his feet in a flash. The air burned with tension. Around them, the forest held its breath. The lion began circling him, snarling, its massive paws crushing the ground. Florian met its gaze and moved with it, step for step, like two storms about to collide. Then the beast lunged again, but Florian was ready. He twisted aside, caught the lion's hind leg, and with a cry of fury, spun the creature around him like a hammer of the gods. Malor roared in terror as the prince released his grip. The beast flew through the air and smashed headlong into an ancient oak with such force that its skull shattered against the trunk. Silence fell. Deep, awful silence. Then the forest shuddered with the lion's final, fading roar. Rook leapt down from the trees, his face alight with astonishment. "By the stars, my lord! You've slain the dread Malor, the terror of the forest, without a blade or armor. I swear, I watched it with my own eyes and still cannot believe it." Florian exhaled, trembling slightly. "It was not my doing, Rook. When the old master struck me, I felt a storm surge within my veins, as though the heavens themselves had filled me with their power. It was his gift, not my strength." He looked around the glade. "Master Rowan, are you here? Speak to me." But no answer came, only the whisper of leaves. "Perhaps he has returned to the spirit realm," Rook murmured. "He came only to save you." The prince nodded solemnly. Moments later, Rook's ears twitched. "Prince, I hear them. The beasts of the forest. They come this way. Many of them, roaring with fury. We must flee." But Florian stood firm. "No, I will not run. If they seek vengeance, let them come. I will face them all." Soon a thunderous horde appeared. Wolves, leopards, tigers, and wild boars, all snarling but strangely hesitant. They stopped a great distance away, glaring yet not advancing. Rook whispered, "Strange, they fear you." The prince's lips curved. "Perhaps they think me some sort of demon." "Yes!" Rook gasped suddenly. "That's it! They do think you're a ghost." When the fox saw you hurl the lion, she fled screaming, "A spirit, a spirit!" She must have spread the tale. They believe you're the same phantom that haunted this forest years ago. Florian's eyes gleamed with cunning. Then let them believe it. He strode to the lion's corpse, lifted the massive beast with his bare hands, and hurled it across the clearing. The carcass struck the ground with a thunderous crash, sending the gathered beasts stumbling backward in fear. Rook clapped his wings. "Brilliant. If you can convince them you are no man but a spirit, they will never dare touch you." The prince smiled faintly, and then, with purpose, he gripped a towering tree. He braced himself, muscles surging with power, and pulled. The earth cracked, roots tore free, and the entire tree rose from the ground like a giant's club. Gasps echoed through the horde. No mortal could have done such a thing. The legend of the white spirit of the woods was reborn that day. Rook climbed to the prince's shoulder and shouted, "Behold, the spirit king of the forest! He brings no harm unless defied. Kneel before him and live, or resist and be torn asunder." Fear swept through the crowd, yet one lion stepped forward, defiant. "Lies," it roared. "He is no spirit but a man. The fox told us he's the wild prince of the south." Florian chuckled. "Yes, I was born a man, but cursed by a phantom's wrath. I walk between both realms. I take this shape only by my master's command, to live among mortals. Defy me, and I shall show you my true form, and feast upon half this forest before dawn." The beasts drew back in terror, muttering among themselves. Then, one by one, they began to bow. "We accept you, O Spirit King," cried the smaller creatures. Deer, hares, mountain goats, wolves. "You are our protector." An aged elephant lumbered forward, his eyes wise and solemn. "I am Sigma," he said. "These beasts call me Elder. If you truly are our guardian, prove it. End the terror that haunts us." "What terror?" asked Florian. "The crimson worm," Sigma rumbled. "Each month, on the first night of the crescent moon, it rises from the marshes. Its breath bursts flesh from bone. Its tail shatters trees from root to crown. If you are the Spirit King, destroy this monster, and we shall believe." The forest fell silent again. Every creature watched, breathless. Even Rook felt a chill crawl down his spine, for he knew that Sigma's challenge was no simple test. It was a death sentence. But Prince Florian merely looked toward the dark horizon, where thunder rolled over the marshlands, and said quietly, "Then the crimson worm shall meet its end." The color drained from Rook's face, his eyes wide with terror. He knew his lord could not possibly stand against the crimson worm, the monstrous scourge of the forest. The old tusker Sigma had cunningly sent Prince Florian to his doom. With a trembling leap, Rook clambered onto Florian's shoulder. "My lord, refuse him! That scheming beast is sending you straight to your death. You don't know what horror this creature is. It will crush you like an insect. Please, let me speak to them." Florian raised a calm hand. "No, Rook, I will speak for myself." He turned toward the ancient elephant, his voice steady. "Sigma, if I slay this creature you speak of, this so-called crimson worm, then you and all the beasts of the forest shall recognize me as your rightful lord, will you not?" Sigma's deep rumble of laughter echoed through the glade. "Indeed, young phantom, You have my word, mine and every beast's here. If you vanquish the crimson worm, the forest shall bow to you." "Yes," cried the beasts in unison, stamping and howling. "We shall name you Prince of the Wilds if you destroy the worm." "So be it," Florian said solemnly. "I will destroy it." Rook's voice broke in panic. "You can't be serious, my lord. You'll be killed." But Sigma's tone grew mocking. "Think well, Ghost Prince. Even 50 phantoms such as you could not overcome that blight. There is still time to turn back. Leave this forest, and perhaps it will spare your life." "I am no coward," Florian replied firmly. "You would make me your sovereign. Then it is my duty to protect you all. If this monster threatens your realm, then I shall face it, even if it costs me my life." At this, Sigma trumpeted loudly, and the forest erupted in shouts and roars of false celebration. Rook, still clinging to Florian's shoulder, whispered bitterly, "Now you've walked straight into their trap, my lord. They've sent you to your death." Florian only smiled faintly. "Let them plot. Justice favors the brave." They returned to the humble hut that Florian had made his home. As he sat in silence, the ancient elephant remained deep in thought. He had indeed tricked the so-called ghost, but a shadow of fear gnawed at him. What if the stranger truly possessed some unnatural power? What if he triumphed over the crimson worm? Then, by his own vow, Sigma and every beast would be bound to serve him. The thought sent a chill through the old beast's heart. As he pondered, shapes emerged from the trees. Tall, pale beings draped in hides and feathers, their eyes burning like amber coals. They were the Toothfangs, the ancient forest tribe. Each carried a gleaming spear. They surrounded the elephant in a ring of cold light. "Well, Sigma," said the one crowned with crimson plumes, "have you found any trace of man? The day of offering draws near, and our God demands a human heart. If we fail, his wrath will burn the skies. We've searched every glade and riverbank, but no human walks this cursed forest. Tell us, have you seen one?" Sigma hesitated, then lowered his head. "No man, but there is a ghost, one who wears a man's shape. He calls himself the Prince of the Wilds." "A ghost?" The leader's voice rose with greed. "Where is he?" Sigma told them everything. The Toothfang chieftain's grin split wide. "Then we shall offer a ghost instead. The god will be pleased beyond measure. Lead us west, we'll find this phantom and sacrifice him before dusk." They stormed away, laughing and shouting their grim chants. "Fools!" Sigma bellowed after them. "He'll kill you all!" But they were gone, swallowed by the trees. Meanwhile, Florian was laughing softly inside his hut. "You've turned me into a ghost, Rook. A legend, a terror. Even beasts flee at the sight of me." "And they've made a fool of you in return," Rook muttered darkly. "They've sent you to face the crimson worm, the very scourge of this land." Florian's smile faded. "Then I'll face it. The wicked fall before the hand of the just. If fate wills my death, so be it. But until then, no beast or monster shall make me tremble." Rook sighed. "Very well, then listen. Perhaps when you know what the worm truly is, you'll think again. Years ago, she and her brood came from the far northern wilds. They were murderers of beasts, crushing elephants, gorging on rhinos. The mother was slain by the united beasts of the forest, but her spawn escaped. A year later, on the same cursed day, it returned, stronger, swollen with fury. Its hiss could split stone. Its venom could burst flesh like ripe fruit. Each year it comes again on this day, the first dawn of the crimson moon, to avenge its mother, to lay waste to all." Rook fell silent, trembling. "What day is that?" Florian asked slowly. Rook blinked, and then froze, terror dawning in his eyes. "My lord, it is today. The crimson moon rises tonight." Florian leapt to his feet. "What? Today? Yes, it comes when the sun reaches its zenith. I must warn the beasts. Stay here. Do not go north, whatever happens. Before Florian could stop him, Rook darted out into the light, vanishing among the trees. Florian cursed softly. Coward, I'll face this worm myself. Grabbing a broken branch shaped like a spear, he sharpened its point with a stone and climbed swiftly into the highest tree. From there, he could see the whole forest in chaos, beasts fleeing, wings beating, cries echoing through the mist. Then the sky darkened. A hiss like thunder rolled through the air. Rook's distant scream tore through the forest. And as Florian turned, he saw it. A colossal serpent. Scales the color of dried blood, eyes like molten gold, coiling through the canopy toward him. The crimson worm had come. What madness grips the beasts today? Asked the chieftain with the crown of feathers. They run as though death himself hunts them. I do not know, my lord, replied one of the Toothfangs nervously. And the ghost, what if he has already fled the forest? The chieftain, Lord Santar, smiled with a calm cruelty. He cannot escape. The spirit is bound by my spell. He cannot leave these woods without my command. This time, we will offer his soul to the god, no matter the cost. A tribesman bowed, murmuring assent. But soon the ground began to shake as herds of terrified animals rushed past them, eyes wide, trampling the undergrowth in blind panic. What in the name of the god is happening to them? Cried one of the Toothfangs. If they do not stop, they will crush us underfoot. Santar frowned and lifted his staff. Wait, I will ask the winds. He seized a small bat-like creature perched on a branch, whispering a charm under his breath. The air shimmered, and the creature spoke in a shrill human tongue. Santar, why do you summon me? It screeched. Tell me, thundered Santar, why do the beasts flee? What terror drives them? And where is the ghost we came to find? The creature beat its leathery wings, vanishing into the shadows for a moment. When it returned, its eyes gleamed like fire. The beasts flee from doom itself. The day of vengeance has come, and the one you seek, he is no ghost. He is a man, a prince of mortal flesh, the forest's lost heir. Santar reeled back. A man? You dare say the spirit is human? Yes, hissed the bat. A prince cast into the wild by a treacherous minister, left for dead. An old hermit saved him, and now he walks the forest as its guardian prince. A wild grin split Santar's face. Then the gods have spared us. The offering we need has found us itself. Come, brothers. The spirit is flesh and blood after all. The Toothfangs howled with joy, clashing their spears. The bat shrieked once and vanished into the storm clouds above. While the tribesmen charged into the darkened wood, chanting praises to their stone god, Prince Florian was racing through the forest when a terrible hiss shattered the air. A man fell from the canopy ahead, writhing. A massive crimson serpent coiled around him. The Toothfangs leapt back in horror, watching as the man struggled in vain to pry apart the creature's scaled coils. The serpent, the crimson worm, roared and tightened its grip until bones cracked audibly. Before Florian could move, the worm turned and struck him with the force of a storm. He was hurled through the branches, crashing to the ground. Pain flooded his body. The worm's coils wrapped around him like living iron. Every breath was agony. Every heartbeat was a hammer against his ribs. He clawed desperately at its scales, gasping for air. His mind screamed for the wooden spear he had fashioned earlier, but it had fallen somewhere among the trees. Then his eyes caught a glint, a broken spear lying near the Toothfang warriors, who now stood frozen in terror. "Throw me that spear!" he shouted. They did not understand his tongue. Instead, they stumbled backward, fleeing into the trees. Desperation filled him. With no weapon left, Florian did the unthinkable. He bit down hard on the serpent's flesh. The taste was foul, its blood hot and metallic, splattering across his face. The worm screamed, thrashing wildly, its coils loosening for an instant. Florian tore himself free, gasping, his body shaking. The serpent reared back, eyes blazing, and struck again with a hiss so violent it split the air. He dodged, just as its massive head slammed into the ground, shattering the earth in an explosion of dust and roots. He saw it then, a sharp, splintered branch jutting from the ground beside him. It could pierce armor, perhaps even scale. Summoning every ounce of strength, he lunged for it. The worm's tail lashed out, uprooting trees and hurling them aside like straw. Florian rolled behind a fallen trunk as it struck again, narrowly avoiding death. Then, gripping the makeshift spear, he turned and charged. The serpent's head loomed before him, dripping venom. He drove the weapon deep into its back. The creature shrieked, twisting, its movements slower now. Florian struck again and again, his fury rising with each blow. Finally, with one last desperate roar, the worm lunged, and Florian thrust the broken spear straight into its open mouth. The weapon tore through its throat and burst from the other side in a spray of blackened blood. The worm convulsed violently, smashing its skull against the ground until it shattered. The forest trembled as its body crashed to earth. Florian stumbled back, exhausted, watching as the beast's severed head lay motionless. He seized a heavy fallen trunk and hurled it down upon the creature's remains. The sound was deafening, and then silence. The worm's body gave one final twitch before collapsing completely. Florian tried to rise, but pain consumed him. The serpent's dying spasms struck him like a hammer, flinging him through the air. He hit a great oak with a sickening thud, then fell to the ground, his body limp and still. Far away in the stone hut of the Tooth-Fanged chieftain, Lord Santar paced in dread. His face was a mask of fear and exhaustion. The priest, Zorgum, had commanded him to bring a human sacrifice for their god before the next dawn, or the wrath of the god would consume the tribe in fire. Santar had defied him once, sparing Parabella from the altar. But if the god's fury fell upon them, neither he nor she would survive. For days he had sent his hunters across the forest, yet none had returned with a living man. Only 5 had gone north, his lieutenant and 4 others, and none had come back. The day of offering was only a night away. Panic and despair filled the village. The people knelt before the stone idol of the god Nithra, begging for mercy, their cries rising with the smoke of their fires. As Santar brooded, the hut's door burst open. One of his men stumbled in, panting, his body torn and bleeding. "Derek, where is my lieutenant? What has happened to you?" Santar demanded. Rushing to him, the man's eyes were wild. "The Pale One, the Pale Nan, my lord," he gasped. Santar's heart leapt. "The Pale Nan? You mean a human? They found him? Where is he? Bring him to me, quickly!" The tribesman tried to speak, his words broken by terror. Outside, thunder rolled, and far away, in the heart of the forest, the dying worm's scream still echoed. "What madness has seized the beasts of the forest? Why do they flee as if death itself hunts them?" growled Lord Santar, the chieftain of the Tooth-Fangs, his golden crown of feathers trembling with irritation. "I do not know, my lord," one of the warriors replied nervously. "Perhaps the spirit we seek has fled this forest entirely." Santar smirked, his eyes gleaming. "He cannot escape, not without my word. This time, we will find him and offer his blood to the gods." "You have my promise." The others nodded silently, though unease flickered in their eyes. Suddenly, Santar raised his staff toward the skies and began muttering an ancient chant. Black wings fluttered above, and a monstrous, bat-like creature appeared, shrieking, Why have you summoned me, Lord of Two Fangs?" The creature screeched and vanished into mist, only to return moments later. "They flee from doom," it hissed. "Today, doom takes revenge. The one you seek is no ghost, but a man, a mortal who has survived death itself. He is the forsaken prince of a fallen kingdom, and he will not flee, for destiny binds him here." Santa froze, disbelief twisting across his face. "A man, not a ghost?" "Yes," the creature shrieked. "A man, once a prince, betrayed by his own minister and left for dead. But the forest saved him. Now he rises as its protector, the wild prince of the Wilderwood." The bat vanished into smoke, and the chieftain's camp stirred with confusion. But before they could question further, the ground trembled, and from the shadows came the prince himself. He was locked in a deadly struggle with the serpent beast Crimson Worm. The creature's massive coils wrapped around him, crushing his bones, while its glowing eyes spat sparks of fury. Florian fought like a storm, teeth clenched, muscles trembling. Every breath was agony. With a desperate cry, he bit deep into the serpent's scales. Blood burst forth like molten fire. The worm shrieked and loosened its coils. In that instant, Florian seized a jagged branch and drove it through the monster's chest. The ground shook as the serpent convulsed, roaring one last time before its skull split open and its vast body collapsed lifelessly. The forest fell silent. Hours later, deep in the tribal camp, Lord Centaur paced his hut in rage. His plans were unraveling. The gods demanded a human sacrifice by dawn, and failure meant doom for his tribe. When one of his scouts stumbled in, bloodied and panting, Centaur whirled. "My lord!" gasped the scout. "The pale-skinned man, we found him." "But that's impossible!" Centaur roared. "No mortal could destroy the worm." But as the tale poured out, of the fight, the quake, the beast's death, Centaur's fury deepened. "You coward! You fled instead of making sure. Now you will lead me to him, this wild prince who defies gods." They marched into the forest, and soon chaos met them. Flames danced among the huts. Rook and his kin had set the Tooth-Fang village ablaze. Amid the smoke, Florian appeared, eyes burning with righteous fury. Then Centaur himself emerged, dragging Parabella, the healer's daughter. Her eyes were swollen from tears. Florian's heart froze. In a flash, his spear left his hand and struck through the chest of the vile priest, Zorgum, piercing his heart. The priest shrieked once and fell dead. Centaur roared, madness twisting his face. He lunged at Florian. Their blades met in a clash that echoed across the burning forest. Sparks flew, steel clanged, and blood streaked the earth. At last, Florian's dagger found its mark, driving deep into Centaur's side. The chieftain staggered, bellowed like a wounded beast, and charged again. But Florian vaulted aside, struck him across the face, and leapt upon him, driving the blade into his chest again and again until the tyrant lay still. The forest erupted in shouts. Rook appeared from the trees, breathless. "My Kents, declare him dead! Declare yourself their ruler. In this land, the one who slays the chieftain becomes the lord of all tribes. Speak, and they will bow." Florian nodded. "Take Parabella to the hermit," he ordered. Then he strode into the clearing, voice thundering. "Your chieftain is dead. If you wish to live, lay down your weapons." The tribes froze. When they saw Centaur's body, they dropped their spears and knelt. "Do not bow before me," Florian said, his voice calm now. "Bow only before the one who rules the heavens, the maker of all. I am a man, as you are men. Let no mortal be your god." He raised an elder among them as the new leader and told them to live in peace. When he returned, Rook leapt onto his shoulders, laughing. "The forest is free again, my prince. The beasts sing your name." Florian smiled faintly. When they reached the hermit's hut, the old man embraced him. "You have done what no man could," he said softly. "You saved my daughter and this forest." The hermit told him then of his homeland, how the tyrant minister had fallen, and the loyal general now ruled with justice. "If you return," the hermit said, "you will reclaim your throne." But Florian only shook his head. "No, father. The world of men is cruel. Here, among beasts and trees, there is love, there is peace. My parents are gone, my kingdom lost. My heart belongs to this forest." The hermit smiled. "Then so be it, my son. You were born a prince of men. But destiny has made you the prince of the wild." The creatures of the Wilderwood gathered outside the hut. When Florian stepped out, they roared in joy, their voices echoing through the valley. "Long live the wild prince! Long live the wild prince!" And when the old hermit blessed Florian and Parabella's union, the entire forest rejoiced. Fireflies danced like stars, the rivers sang, and Rook the raven leapt about, laughing and somersaulting in delight.